Imagine this. You sit down to work. The room is quiet. The desk is clean. There are no notifications, no distractions, and yet your brain is restless. You stare at the screen, but your thoughts scatter, replaying old conversations, random reminders, or that one unfinished email you never answered. You think you lack discipline, but the real enemy is hidden inside. It's not noise from the outside world, it's the mental noise your brain generates on autopilot. And unless you learn how to shut it off, you will never access deep focus, no matter how perfect your environment is. The truth is simple. Your brain is not designed to give you silence just because the room is silent. It keeps replaying unfinished loops, unsolved microtasks, and unresolved emotions. Neuroscience calls this the Zeigarnik effect, the tendency of the brain to cling to incomplete actions as if they are emergencies. That is why you can be in the calmest environment and still feel as if 1,000 tabs are open in your head. Today, you will learn the immediate silence protocol, the code that allows you to close these loops on demand and unlock full concentration in minutes. This is not meditation, not journaling, not hours of practice. This is a tactical switch you can execute the moment you need to perform at your peak. To understand it, think of your brain as a server constantly running background processes. Even if you open no new programs, the system lags because hidden tasks eat up memory. You don't need to delete your entire hard drive. You just need to terminate the processes that are stealing your capacity. And here is the reality. 80% of what you call lack of focus is nothing more than mental noise from unresolved micro-commitments. The presentation you haven't started, the message you haven't replied to, the errand you promised yourself you'd do. Your brain keeps them active because it believes forgetting equals danger. So the loop stays open, draining bandwidth. Step 1 of the protocol is to capture. Take a blank sheet of paper, not a digital app, and dump every unresolved microtask onto it. Don't filter, don't organize, just capture. The reason this works is biological. When your brain sees an external placeholder, it relaxes its need to keep the loop alive internally. It no longer has to rehearse the reminder because it knows the task is saved. In 2 minutes of writing, you already feel a release because the brain offloads its burden onto a trusted system. Step 2 is to classify. Look at the list and mark each item with one of 3 codes: act now, schedule later, or delete. Again, this is not about productivity theory. It is about shutting down background noise. The brain calms down not when everything is done, but when everything is decided. Ambiguity is what generates the loudest internal static. Once you decide something is either actionable now, assigned to a future slot, or irrelevant, the loop closes. Your brain finally shuts up about it. Step 3 is the micro reset. Once your loops are captured and classified, you shift your physiology to anchor the silence. Here is how. Sit straight. Inhale deeply through the nose for 4 seconds, hold for 2, exhale slowly for 6. Do this cycle 3 times. What happens in that minute is that your parasympathetic system activates, lowering cortisol and quieting intrusive thoughts. Your nervous system goes from scattered to grounded. Now combine this with the captured list, and the silence feels almost physical. It's as if the static in your head dissolves. What used to take hours of wasted time can now be achieved in under 5 minutes. Think of it as cleaning the RAM in your computer before launching a heavy program. You don't need more power, you just need to remove the junk-consuming resources. And once you run this protocol, the task in front of you is no longer blocked by invisible clutter. You see it clearly, you start it immediately, and you sustain focus longer because your system is not leaking energy into dozens of hidden loops. Now, let's break down why this works so effectively on a neurological level. Your prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for decision-making and focus, operates like a limited capacity processor. When it is hijacked by reminders of incomplete loops, it cannot allocate full attention to the task at hand. But the moment you externalize those loops, you free up working memory. This is why your brain feels lighter, sharper, and faster. Add the breathing reset, and you also neutralize the stress hormones amplifying the noise. What you are left with is pure, unbroken cognitive bandwidth. Imagine being able to switch from scattered chaos to deep, silent concentration in minutes, not hours. That is the leverage top performers use, and now it's yours. In practice, here's exactly what you do the next time you feel scattered. Stop everything for 3 minutes. Write down every unfinished loop that comes to mind. Label each one with act, schedule, or delete. Then run the 3 breathing cycles. That is the immediate silence protocol. The effect will shock you the first time. What felt like insurmountable distraction melts away, and what remains is clean attention directed exactly where you want it. This is how you break the illusion that focus requires grinding or waiting for motivation. Focus is engineered by design, and this design is in your control. Here is the part that most people miss. Your brain doesn't care how organized your workspace is. You can clean your desk, silence your phone, even lock yourself in an empty room, and yet you'll still feel restless. Why? Because the real distraction is not external, it is internal. The loops running in the background of your mind are what keep you scattered. And unless you master the skill of closing them, you will never achieve true deep work. This is why the immediate silence protocol is not optional if you want to play at the highest level. It is the difference between being busy and being unstoppable. Let's take a closer look at how to execute it under real-world conditions. Imagine you are about to start a presentation draft, but you feel blocked. Your brain instantly serves you 10 unrelated thoughts. Call the client back, check the email about the invoice, schedule that doctor appointment, reply to a message. None of these are urgent, but your nervous system treats them as if they all demand attention now. If you try to push through, you end up with fractured focus and low output. Instead, stop and run the capture step. Within 2 minutes, you externalize all 10 intrusions onto paper. Now your brain no longer needs to spin those reminders. Already the static drops by half. Then classify. 2 of them are act now items, 3 are schedule later, 5 are delete. In less than a minute, you have transformed a storm of open loops into a structured system. And here's the key. Your brain doesn't reward you for completing everything. It rewards you for closing the loop. Once it sees that a decision has been made, it relaxes. This is a neurological shortcut you can exploit to free focus on demand. Finally, anchor it with the micro reset. That simple 3-cycle breathing pattern is enough to calm the stress response that fuels distraction. You are not meditating for hours. You are flipping a switch in your physiology. Combine all 3 steps, and within 5 minutes you experience silence that most people never access even after hours of trying. And the result is not abstract. It translates into measurable performance. With the noise shut down, your prefrontal cortex can lock onto the single task in front of you. Work that felt impossible suddenly flows. You stop wasting time circling the runway and start moving the needle. Now, let's scale this. Imagine you run this protocol twice a day, once in the morning before deep work, and once in the afternoon before a second performance block. That's 10 minutes total investment. In return, you reclaim hours of wasted focus and double the depth of your work sessions. This is leverage, and this is why high performers are not necessarily smarter, they are cleaner. Their minds are free from the static that eats up your bandwidth. The silence they cultivate is their competitive edge. You might think this sounds simple, but do not underestimate it. Simplicity is power when it is rooted in neuroscience. Every open loop you capture and classify is 1 more megabyte of working memory released. Every micro reset you execute reduces cortisol and sharpens attention. Stack these effects and you create a brain environment optimized for execution. The real advantage is not working harder, it is working without interference. That is what this protocol installs. Here is how to implement it starting today. Before you enter your next important work session, take exactly 3 minutes. Step 1. Capture every open loop you can think of on paper. Step 2. Classify each as act, schedule, or delete. Step 3. Run the breathing reset 3 times, then go directly into your task. Do this once and you'll feel the silence. Do this daily and you will rewire your brain to expect clarity before work. Over weeks, the noise weakens because your nervous system learns that every loop will be dealt with in the protocol. What used to be constant chatter becomes occasional whispers, and eventually, you are the one in control. This is the endgame of mental performance, to be able to enter silence on command, not by luck. The immediate silence protocol is how you install that ability. And when you have it, you stop leaking energy, you stop drowning in distractions, and you finally operate with the full capacity of your mind. That is the state from which breakthroughs happen. If you are serious about performance, you cannot afford to keep living with internal noise. Capture, classify, reset. This is your new ritual. Run it twice a day for the next week and track the difference in your output. You will see it immediately. And once you feel the power of a silent mind, you will never go back. This is one of those codes that changes how you work forever. Welcome to Success Code, your arsenal of mental protocols for competitive advantage. If this protocol gave you an edge, subscribe now and install the next code with us. Because in a noisy world, silence is not just peace, it is power.